Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. After a few months of taking a break from the show due to moving into a new house, seeing the birth of my healthy and happy and handsome junior, Marlon Joseph II, the podcast is officially back online on all platforms. You guys can find me on Spotify, find me on, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Facebook page, and Instagram as well. Speak to the Mic is officially back, and I'm picking back up where I left off in regards to physical health and wellness, and no other way can be brought to you guys in regards to that subject than to introduce you all to my first official guest back on the show with Speak to the Mic. So again, I am your illustrious host, Marlon Joseph. Here with me today is a Black woman who's doing extraordinary things in the field of physical health and wellness as it pertains to plant-based nutrition. I can't give this woman a proper introduction that would even solidify what she actually is doing in the city of Miami, Florida, which you guys can find her in. She is a holistic fitness nutrition coach. She's also a co-creator with her sister, Dominque Jeffries, with the Organik Dynasty, which is a holistic health space that not only provides organic plant-based superfood nutrition to the community, but also a means to increase financial wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, let me help you all introduce you to Deonna Jeffries. Deonna, this is an honor and pleasure to have you on the show. I am just, again, I've been following you and your sister for quite some time and seeing all the tremendous things you guys have been doing as it pertains to just pushing the envelope of us living a plant-based diet and a healthy life as Black people, or just people in general. So again, thank you for taking the time and your much busy schedule to, just indulge me in this conversation as we, push the envelope to, get more of us to be on that healthy lifespan in terms of want to live a longer and healthier life. So thank you so much for being on this show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm excited to share. I know that my story, even though it might not seem like, it's this like great story, but I know that someone might be able to resonate with this. So I'm always open to sharing it whenever I can. So.
Absolutely. And listen, in the field of physical health and wellness, we always need motivation, right? So everyone is not self-motivated in the sense of being able to do things on their own. Sometimes they need to hear testaments and testimonies from other people and how they got started to where compared to where they are now. And so, I mean, again, your story will always, be an inspiration to more people than you know. So whether they follow you or not, if they even get a glimpse of how your story began, and it's something that would push them and motivate them to want to live a longer and healthier life as well. So again, your motivation, whether you know that or not.
All right, thanks.
All right, so let's just get on into it. I got to first start by asking you this: how did you even get introduced to the field of fitness, more specifically with plant-based nutrition? How did that get started with you?
Wow. I didn't start with plant-based nutrition. I actually got into fitness. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. So I grew up eating nothing, the total opposite of plant-based nutrition. So that, casseroles, Kentucky Fried Chicken, okay. I ate everything. I really had no idea what nutrition really meant, right? It was just food. It was just, if you're hungry, you eat. And, my parents did their best. They didn't really know much either. But I grew up eating just, whatever. I got into fitness actually kind of like, I would say maybe like late. I don't know. I never really, growing up, I never was like physically active. I did, my mom put me in like dance class when I was like 4 or 5, but nothing that like I stuck with consistently. I got out of college and I remember I started gaining weight, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. I'll say like social media wasn't as popping as it is now. So wasn't really comparing myself to anyone else. I was just, just living. And, but I remember just not feeling good, right? Because when you start to gain weight, especially unnecessary weight, right, it affects the way you move, like going up the stairs. I started to notice like, I'm just not the same. And, you know, being in college, you know, you're already stressed from like school and things like that. And I'd never been like overweight or anything my whole life, even though I was eating garbage food. It hadn't really caught up to me yet, you know? So I was always pretty like petite and like, you know, not skinny, but just like, you know, normal, I guess, like regular size. But I noticed I started to pick up weight, and it wasn't even about the way I looked. I just kind of felt a little off. But fast forward, I graduated college and I was living on my own. And then I was just kind of just like eating whatever, because I was just on my own. It was just like, I'm just grabbing stuff for myself. And like, I was, you know, out of my parents' house and like all that kind of stuff. And I was dating a guy at the time, and we broke up. It was kind of dramatic. It was just kind of like devastating to me at the time. I thought it was something that was going to last forever. So it was just like this like shock. And I remember at that time when that happened, I kind of had just like this shift in what I really wanted, because so much of my vision was with him, you know, and now it was over. And I was like, well, what am I doing? You know? And it was also something that I feel like I needed something to kind of distract me from like thinking about, you know, this like experience. So my cousin had a gym back home. I was still living in Louisville at the time. My cousin actually had like a little gym, but it wasn't really a gym. He was just like outside, just like training people. So it was like a boot camp style thing. And I remember I was like just looking at him on like Facebook, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should just like try it. You know, I need something different, something out of my comfort zone, something that I can just do. So I was like, okay, I'll just go and like try it. This is me going from like pretty much never really working out, like maybe like walking on a treadmill or something like in like college or something, but like nothing. And I went to his boot camp, and I remember it was like just like outdoor stuff. So it's like, you know, jumping on stairs and like sprinting up and down like this like bridge. It was like doing all this like weird stuff or whatever. And I remember I started and I was like totally out of breath. Like, I mean, you're talking about like I had maybe like 30 extra pounds on me. Like it was not good. But my cousin was like, wait, like you're like really athletic. And I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm like slow and like whatever. He's like, no, like you're like really athletic. And it kind of motivated me a little bit, because I'm like, I don't really think so. But I kept going back. It was like a great outlet for me, right? It's, you know, the endorphins that are released when you work out, it makes you feel good, you know? I wasn't even really concerned about the changes in my body until I started to see them. And then I was like, oh, like, you know, a lot of the weight and like inflammation started to come off. And I was like, okay, like this is kind of addicting. Like I like this. So my cousin like dared me. He's like, why don't you do a bodybuilding competition? And I was like, wow. What? Like, this is like 2015. So the only like people that I saw doing bodybuilding people were like really tiny white women, and they were like super like muscular. And I was like, that's like the total opposite of me. Like, no, and I never weightlifted or anything. So I was like, no, like I just came here to have fun I came here to really distract myself, you know, from life. That's why I'm here. I don't have this like, you know, I don't want to be a bodybuilder or nothing. And then he was like, just think about it. And I was like, no, like whatever. And you know how like you kind of dismiss something, and then it just like kind of keeps creeping into your head, and you're like, wait. And I remember like I went to work this. What do I have to lose? You know, like, I mean, I'm already working out, right? It can't be that hard.
Yeah.
So I went back to him and I was like, why not? Let's do it. Like, what do I have to do? You know? And he's like, well, you're going to be on, you know, like a diet, but not like a diet that's like, you know, I don't like the word diet in general, but when you're bodybuilding, you're on a specific meal plan, right? For that performance. Okay. So it's, I'm not going to say it's like the most health conscious, but it's definitely better than what I was eating. So he was like, it's going to be a little strict, you know, and it's, you're going to have to work out. You're going to have to start to lift weights. And I was like, lift weights? Like, I don't want to get like buggy. And he's like, you won't. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of just like totally out of my comfort zone. I was like, why not? Like, what do I have to lose? And then I dove right in. Like, I went from just doing like little boot camp type of cardio things to like weight training, like 5 days a week, and, you know, eating like 5 or 6 meals a day, like very, very structured, and drinking a gallon of water a day. Like, I just kind of went into it that way. I kind of tend to do that with a lot of things in my life. Like I'm either like, if I have to like baby step in, I might not do it. But if you kind of like push me in the water, then I'm just
Yeah.
gonna have to learn
Full throttle.
how to
Yeah.
swim.
Just going straight
Yeah.
head on first.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I have too much time to think about it, I'll talk myself out of it.
Yep.
So yeah, I got into bodybuilding and I was just fell in love with the way that I was able to transform my body. It was like, okay, I had a coach, he was giving me all the guidance, but like I had to eat the food. I
Yep.
had to get up at 4 a.m. and get on the Stairmaster when nobody was in the gym, right? I had to work 2 jobs and still be able to get my workouts and like I had to do all of that. So it was almost this like sense of like empowerment that I felt, because I was like, wow, like I'm watching my body transform, but I know it's like all me. Like,
Yep.
I'm the one that's getting up. Like I'm doing this. I'm watching myself. I started in January of 2015. And I prepped for a really long time, just because I planned to do a show earlier than that, in like April, but I wasn't really ready yet. So I kind of stretched it until June. But in between that time, like 4, 5, 6 months, I'm like watching me go from like I just literally like transformed, and I transformed like physically, but also like mentally. Like I became much more disciplined.
Yeah.
I was working at a hospital at the time, and they love to order food out. They love to order fast food. They love to
All the
like
time.
have delivery, pizza, all that kind of stuff. So like I'm in the break room with like grilled chicken and like rice and like green beans, and they're looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, but I had to like have this just kind of like focus.
Yeah.
And it taught me a lot about myself. And I really realized like, wow, like this could help a lot of people, and people were telling me like that as they were watching my transformation, like, help me. And I'm like, I don't know, I didn't do anything. I just started listening to other people, and like they told me what to, eat. And then, I just kind of was like, well, maybe I can help them out too. Like, I don't know everything, but I'm learning as I go. So I started to get into a little bit of like personal training. And I really liked helping people like achieve their goals. And that became something that I was just kind of really, really passionate about, but I was still working like a job. So it's like, I couldn't really give it my full-time attention, even though I wanted to. So I kind of scaled back from it a little bit. But along the way, I really became like, I love working out. I love fitness. I love it. I love it. But I really became really intrigued with the nutrition, because the whole time I was on prep, my coach only had me really working out like 3-4 days a week. Like I wasn't working out all day long. It was maybe like an hour session. It wasn't like this, like, in my mind at the time, I was like, oh my God, I have to work out like 7 days a week. Like I'm gonna be in there for like 3 hours a day. No, it was like 60 minutes, like 4 days. I had like a few days off, and I was like, wow. So it was really the nutrition that transformed me. So I started to get a little deeper into like, okay, what am I actually eating? And like, how is that helping me to like build muscle and like burn fat and all of these things? So I started to just do a little bit more research on nutrition. And I was like, wow, like this is great, because everyone can pretty much change their diet. Like some people can't physically get up and go work out, right? For whatever reason, if they have a busy schedule or they have injuries, like, but I'm like, everyone can change what they're eating. So I started to kind of just really like kind of experiment on myself a little bit. So like the bodybuilding prep was very, very much like high protein, I'll say, moderate carbohydrate, and like low fat, so after my show, I kind of went back to like binge eating, did all the kind of crazy stuff. And then I realized like, oh, okay, like I need to get back on, track. And that's when I got into a little bit more of the nutrition. And I remember my whole family, like we all switched to Dr. Sebi's like diet kind of thing, like a more like alkaline type of like, I guess, vegan, like plant-based type of diet. And we just kind of just like cut out everything. And I had been eating like a lot of chicken, a lot of eggs, a lot of animal protein. Right. And I kind of cut that out and ended up just switching to like, we were eating like mushrooms and like a lot of vegetables and plants and things like that. And I kind of noticed like, oh, like I have more energy, like feel better. And it just kind of like sparked like even more interest into that too. And I'm not going to say I went like completely plant-based back then, but I definitely like experimented a little bit. And then fast forward a little bit, that job that I hated, I worked for the federal government. I actually transferred. That's the beauty of working for the government, that you can kind of move wherever with the job. So I transferred from Louisville, Kentucky to Miami. And I really moved here to really get fitness or really to like pursue my dreams with like fitness and things like that. I knew Miami would be a better market, more opportunity,
Absolutely.
exposure, like all that kind of stuff. But when I moved here, I was like, you know what, I got to make another like change. So I moved here and basically decided like, I remember I moved here and I was supposed to start work Monday, March 5th. And then I decided like, then I'm just going to go vegan basically. So I moved here and then completely total life change. And then I just went vegan. And I don't even like the labels of these words, but I say vegan because I wasn't really nutritionally sound then. I was like, okay, I'm going to cut out meat. I'm going to cut out dairy, kind of do what I did with Dr. Sebi, but I'm going to just kind of do my own thing. Right. And the stress of moving and the stress of a lot of things, I went back to eating like junk food, vegan food, right? That's like, there's certain potato chips that don't have like animal products in it, right? So you can eat those. There's like Oreos. There's so many different like ways to get around.
Before you finish that, I'm gonna need for you to send me a list of those, like those nutritionist things that I can eat that actually are like classified as plant-based junk food or nutrition junk food. I'm gonna need that. Yeah. Cause oh man, I love chips and I just, and I'm breaking away from that habit of eating so much of it because I would literally like buy a family bag of damn Doritos and eat the whole damn bag and not even realize I just bought this damn bag and I already ate it all up. And it's just like trying to program my mind to just, okay, eat and then, but don't eat to get full. Just eat but don't continuously eat just for the sake of eating. Now ain't nothing in the damn house anymore because you just sat here and ate every damn thing. And you weren't even necessarily hungry. So it's like, that's something that we have to program in our minds and in our bodies. Okay, I'm not eating for the sake of getting full. I'm eating for the sake of having something in my stomach, at least to satisfy me for the day or for that time of day or whatever. So
we eat to fill our stomachs, not ourselves. And that's why we feel unfulfilled a lot of times.
I like that.
You know, and a lot of times when you're eating that way, it's just empty calories anyway. Like potato chips, like not really much nutrition there, you know. And then when you do eat that, our bodies are such incredible machines that they're always wanting nourishment, they're always wanting nutrient, but then if they can't find it in something, it'll make you think you're still hungry. But then we go grab another bag of chips or we end up grabbing something else, you know. We just keep like avoiding nutrients. And then we wonder why, like, oh, I don't feel good, I don't have the energy, like not sleeping well, like my digestion's off. It's like we haven't given our bodies what we really need. We haven't filled ourselves. So
and you know what, to that point, I will say this too, the healthiest substitution that I've been able to find for me is I've been eating honey roasted almonds. I've been eating a lot more fruit, like just in substitution of like the different snacks that I was, used to eating. And obviously in my profession, my line of work, I work in IT. So when I used to actually be in the office, all that was really available was, all this carbs and all these snacky foods and things like that. And it was just like, I'll just be sitting in my damn desk, eating some chips or eating some cookies or something like that. And I'm just like, okay, no wonder why I'm so damn fatigued and just always slouching and just like overall just tired in general. And once I get home or whatever, but working from home, obviously that can also be an issue too, because I'm just things that are available to me to eat ain't necessarily healthy until I start to actually program my mind and say, all right, because I love crunchy things, I'm gonna eat these honey roasted almonds, which is actually healthy for me to eat. And it's actually pretty good too. I actually like the almonds. So that on top of like eating nectarines, I love like citrus fruits preferably, but I would eat grapes. I would mostly eat like nectarines and peaches and some strawberries, but pineapples and mangoes were like my go-to thing. So maintaining that consistency has been more on the healthier side. I've been able to do that more now. And it's like, okay, you know what? I know it takes 21 days on average to develop a habit, and habits become lifestyles. And so if I'm constantly doing this, I won't have to remind myself to do it anymore because I'm already know programmatically to already do this and already eat this type of stuff. And then everything else is going to fall wayside because now I'm not really intrigued by eating that kind of stuff anymore. So it's funny how we have to just maintain that discipline. And in the early stages, understand it. It's going to be tough. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So you have to maintain that consistency, but you got to fight the urges, and you got to tell yourself, no, I'm not eating this shit today. No, I'm not going to touch that. No, that's not healthy. Let me eat this. And I'm going to eat you can eat what's healthy for you and also be good too. Like people always think they got to just subject themselves to eat something that's healthy but nasty. It's like there are things that are healthy and good too that you can eat, right? I mean, there are so many different food items that you haven't tried that you're basically depriving yourself from. So it's like, get out there and try things. We got to stop being such human beings or just creatures who are just stuck in a box, right? So get outside of that box, step outside of the box every now and then to try something new, because you never know what indeed is out there that you would ultimately like and would consistently eat more of. So yeah, I mean, from that perspective, I do understand that. But obviously with the nutrition piece, right? So I heard you mention something about Dr. Sebi in regards to plant-based. And I remember reading a lot about him, watching a lot of his interviews and things like that too. And then that kind of like struck my interest as well about it. But, and you know what, recently I started buying the plant-based, the Impossible burger patties. And my God, those Impossible burger patties are so good. And it's just like a regular burger. Like I haven't been eating like red meat like that anyway, but I've been more on the turkey, the seafood, and the chicken side more than anything else. So obviously eating red meat was nothing for me to stop doing. Like that wasn't hard for me to do, but it was more so because I love chicken too. I would just eat chicken and turkey all the time. But for you, I want to know, okay, so since you were, listening and obviously reading a lot on what Dr. Sebi did prior to his passing, what would you say was the one thing that stood out to you in regards to the plant-based nutrition in regards to you actually being, just embarking on that?
I definitely, I'll say it's definitely a journey. So when I was looking at Dr. Sebi, I was like, okay, and I definitely took it all, into my brain, I'll say, right. And then it's funny how, like I said about like, getting into the bodybuilding competition, like something just kept like, look into it more, like, go back to it. So I definitely like learned about it, and then I kind of shifted away from it. But then I remember watching this documentary on Netflix called What the Health, and it was really just kind of explaining movies are so powerful, right? Like I definitely read about Dr. Seb, and I definitely like looked at the list and like but when I actually watched, I'm not saying everything in that video is like fact, but it expanded my consciousness too, so I took the time to really research, like, oh, like what are we really, what am I really putting into my body, and I started to realize, like, okay, I remember eating a lot of animal protein. I remember I didn't feel good, but they tell you to eat it, you know what I mean? So I really kind of shifted a little bit to what I felt like was going to serve me best. And I mean, obviously watching that documentary was a little bit more of like confirmation, like, oh, okay, like, yeah, we like, the dairy industry, is absolutely like ridiculous. It's so detrimental to, I mean, our health, and just, I mean, there's so many just like factors to what we're eating that don't serve us, but serve big factory farming and, money and
absolutely. It's capitalism altogether, because they all work together. The FDA works with the American Heart Association, which works with all these different products, all these different companies that actually produce all this different food and stuff. That's when I want to interject for a second, because something funny about What the Health that I actually did. So I watched that documentary. I was eating some tortilla chips and cheese dip. When they got to the dairy part, I literally, I kid you not, I sat here and looked. When they were talking about the cheese part, I was over there eating, and I stopped and I threw the damn chip down. I was like, what the hell? What am I doing? I felt so bad and so shitty. Like, I was like, you know what? Because I love cheese, but I was like, you know what? Let me just put this away. I ain't want to look at cheese for the next week. And like, it almost went 2 weeks out before I even looked at cheese again. I was just like, damn, that documentary really did something to me. So it was just funny how the irony of me eating cheese, watching that. And I was just like, what? Never mind. No, I'm not doing this anymore. But that documentary was, it was quite intriguing to know how all these companies interconnect with, the FDA, American Heart Association, and they would put things on that website saying, okay, this is healthy, but it actually isn't. I remember seeing that they had like filet mignon or some type of red meat that was considered healthy when it's actually not at all. And it's like, wait, you all are putting this on your FDA approved websites? Like, that's ridiculous. We're sitting here thinking, and all this time growing up as a kid, we see all them got milk ads and all those damn milk doesn't body good ads, when in fact, milk actually isn't even healthy for you at all. It's dairy. It's from a cow. Like,
it's another species. Like, even I was out when I looked into dairy more, I researched, it's basically like it makes sense, right? A cow like produces that milk, while she's pregnant. She's trying to feed a baby calf. And if you ever paid attention on a farm or just in nature, those calves grow like so fast, right?
Yep.
They're meant to, like, they're a whole, another species. They're meant to fatten up, and they end up like, fully grown, like, in half the time that we do. But here we are pumping it into our bodies, right? And since our bodies don't recognize another animal's milk, it affects our hormones. It affects a lot of our growth organs, and that's why babies, a lot of times you'll notice they'll start, some babies grow like really fast and they get all fat and we think it's cute, but it's not, because they're basically, what that dairy is doing internally is not going to serve them later on. Like right then and there, it's like, oh, okay, what's a little baby, whatever. But then as we grow older, like a lot of women notice a lot of reproductive issues, and not even just the actual cow, but the way that they treat the animals and the way that they want to mass produce, right? So they pump them with steroids and they pump them with everything,
all
and we soak all that in. So when we eat it, we're thinking, oh, I'm just having a glass of milk, or I'm having chips and dip. But really, we're taking on another animal's, milk, one, but two, we're also taking on pus and steroids and a lot of things, and we don't, because you can't really put your finger on it, right? You don't know what's going on. And what we're seeing in our community now is like even younger and younger now, right? But you're seeing people 40 years old having heart attacks and getting diabetes and, just obesity and hypertension and all these things. And we're like what's going on? It has to be our diets, and over time, when you keep pumping in a lot of these toxins, whether you know it or not, right? Like they poison a lot of our food with herbicides and pesticides and things like that. But over time, our organs begin to shut down. And another thing in our community is that we ignore a lot of those signs, right? When we don't feel good, when we're low energy, it's like, oh, I'm working a lot, right? I'm stressed out. Like I fell victim to that. Like even something as simple as like being bloated, right? Uncomfortable bloating. I thought it was normal, right? But what's common isn't always normal.
Absolutely.
I had some digestive issues that I just kind of chalked up as like whatever, but your digestive organs are so important to your body function, like muscle building. Like you can't properly absorb nutrients from your digestive system, then you're not going to build the muscle that you want to. Right. So there's so many things that we ignore. If you're getting migraines, you're probably thinking, oh, well, I just get headaches, or it runs in my family, and it's really something that we need to start taking into account, because those migraines could be a sign of a brain aneurysm. Those migraines could be, it's something that it doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. Like our bodies give us signs, our skin is our biggest organ. So a lot of times when you're breaking out rashes and eczema and psoriasis and like this like acne, a lot of times that's a gut imbalance, but we're ignoring the root issue and we run to the external, which is what we've been taught to do, by the society. It's like, go spend money on something, go put a cream on it, go put a Band-Aid on it, and don't get to the root cause. And a lot of what I do is really education. It's like we've been brainwashed and we've been programmed to believe that the foods that we eat don't contribute to disease, unless it's like obesity. It's like, oh, okay, well, of course he wasn't eating good, so he's bigger. But my, feminine problems, right? Those are just hereditary. Like my mom had the same problem. Or this was just something that's just been passed down. While yes, it could be something that is in, your lineage, but it's because the foods that you're eating are basically bringing it to the surface, and if you can adjust your diet, you can actually alter that DNA so that you basically like remove that, and then your kids aren't, well, we've all had this, you know what I mean? It's like, no, it's like, no,
you don't have to continue on with that, with that same notion, right? Just because it was passed to you don't mean it has to keep going with you, right?
Exactly.
You can stop with you and say, you know what? No, enough of this.
Yes. And I think we've gotten so just comfortable with like, okay, well, watching my grandmother, get older, right? And she's always been heavy set. And then, okay, well, of course she has diabetes. Okay, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, why can't we understand that the foods that we've been eating, the foods that she's been cooking and feeding us since we were kids have contributed to that, you know, and it's accelerated the diabetes. And if we continue to eat that way, we're going to have it. You know what I mean? And it's like, when are we going to break that cycle? And that's really what my consciousness kind of just expanded to as I began to change what I was eating. And it was like, I started looking at the people around me and I'm like
that
I
makes
know
you think differently now.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm watching people now, or, you know, when I'm in conversations, I'm like, you know, and I definitely put the mirror up because I've been there. Like I told you, I grew up eating, I mean, I ate sausage and bacon every day for breakfast, like McDonald's, like I did it all. Like both.
Sausage and bacon, both. Yeah.
I mean, we ate awful. Like I know I've been there. Like I know how difficult it is to break that habit of, you know, eating those types of foods, right?
Yeah.
So when I look at, you know, I'm definitely can see where they're coming from, but I'm like, nothing changes if nothing changes. Like Absolutely. We're gonna keep blaming okay, well, I can't give it up. Like, yes, you can. It's just, and like you were saying about like alternatives, you know, like there's definitely, now that we're in 2021, there's so many things that you can do now to make that transition easier if you're looking to become healthier, right? Like something as simple as like if you have a sugar addiction or you love sugar, right? You can swap out that white sugar that we love to put on everything, right? There's like coconut sugar, which is it's not refined. It's from a plant, right? So, and that white sugar does, you know, obviously so many issues.
I actually found organic. I actually found some organic light brown sugar, and it's actually really good.
Now, see, that's a gimmick though. Brown sugar is the same as, they just added coloring. That's the same as white sugar, but they want you to think that, right? Just like brown rice is supposed to be better than white rice. You know, it's like that's the game that they play because they know that we're going to fall for it, because we always have. If we really educated ourselves, like, okay, you know what? Where's the sugar coming from? Now, don't get me wrong. I'll say it's definitely evolved, because what they've done is they've made things so they want to make things
less concentrated, right? So
so they'll take like, you know, like cane sugar, for example. Yes, the cane is a plant. It's supposed to be healthy, right? Mm-hmm. What they've done is that they've altered that plant so that they could grow it faster, right? So they genetically modified it because they know that they want to keep producing the sugar to keep everyone addicted. So they've done that. And then they've done things like, okay, well, brown sugar is healthier, but it's still cane sugar, and it's still, and they've still stripped, like they basically made it not good for us, you know? And they want to mass produce things like that so they can make more money quickly, you know, but Absolutely. It's killing us. You know, it's so when we really look at what we're eating, and we try to get to more of like plant-based, you know, so it's basically, that's what plant-based means. Most of your diet is centered around plants. And when you Absolutely. Focus there, then you begin to question, okay, let me look at this. Let me look at exactly what cane sugar is, right? We look at that, we're like, okay. And we realize like, oh, well, like, okay, I'll give you an example. Most of the cherry farms in the United States are owned by Coca-Cola. Why would Coca-Cola need to own cherry farms? But what that also means is that they're trying to make money, right? So most of the cherries in America are sprayed with pesticides and herbicides to keep those cherry plantations or cherry crops growing in mass production, so they can add them to their cherry Coke, I guess, or whatever, right? But it's not doing us any good. Like we'll eat a cherry and we'll think, oh, it's a cherry, but it's really covered in a pesticide or covered in an herbicide, or it's been genetically modified, right? So that when we eat it, it actually doesn't give us the nutrients that we need. We just are soaking in toxins. It's like they've really like it's, I don't want to go too deep into it because it's a rabbit hole, but a lot of what we're seeing, I mean, we're walking around with like a mask on, you know, like we don't, once you take that off and you really start to look at what you're putting into your body, right? Yeah. I always tell people, you know, look at the ingredients. If you're buying something and it's packaged, turn over and look at the ingredients. Obviously, if you're going to buy a mango, you don't have to look at anything ingredients. It is what it is, right? Yep. Always shop organically, which is another thing. If it's organic, that means it has not been altered with pesticides, herbicides, toxins, chemicals. Yep. And we may not understand it right now, because when I first saw the price of an organic cucumber and the price of a non-organic cucumber, I was like, I'm not buying that. A non-organic cucumber is like 79 cents. An organic one's like $2.99 or something, right?
Yeah.
But when I started to educate myself, I was like, oh, this has pesticides on it. I don't want to eat pesticides. Like, and then I realized, like, no, like, even though it's cheaper now, right, it's going to cost me later.
It's going to be more expensive in your body internally later.
And we're talking about,
we spend money on what the hell we want to spend money on.
We
like,
have
we
the money
quit making excuses about shit.
Exactly.
Because like, don't sit here and shortchange yourself in terms of your health, but want to spend external money on bullshit and be like, oh, well, I did it just for the sake of doing it. Like, no, do it because, listen, the most daunting and unfortunate fact about African Americans, especially in society and in America, is that the life expectancy of an African American person is between 60 and 65. Why do you think that's the case? High blood pressure, high hypertension, high cholesterol. You know, we're dying from strokes and heart attacks at a more disproportionate rate. All of that has to do with the very things that we're putting in our bodies. Yes. Just because it's good don't mean it's good for us. And we have to start looking more into that and start actually really paying attention to what we're actually eating, rather than just saying, oh, I'm not going to eat that because it costs this, or I'm not going to eat that because it don't taste good. But damn it, it's other things out there that you can eat that does taste good, but it's also good for you, because we need to be trying to live longer and healthier lives than what we've been doing, because we've seen grandma and granddaddy and aunts and uncles, or even mothers and fathers to a lesser degree, who are eating all this stuff, and you're seeing the effects of what all that eating over all those years has done to them. And again, like you said earlier about passing it down from generation to generation, sometimes those very hereditary things can be broken if you're properly eating the right things. If your diet, or like you said, if your nutrition that you're intaking consists of much more healthier things that you can actually like live off of, rather than all the messy eating and junk food. And of course, like it's discipline. It takes a lot of time to get to that point, to that place where your mind is telling your body exactly what you're going to eat. But we have to strive to do better. And because of the fact that America is clinically morbidly obese, it's over 40 million people who are clinically labeled as morbidly obese. Now, take it as a grain of salt all you want, but that's the facts. And a lot of that's because we're sitting up here making waffle burgers and sitting here. I think I saw one of the food critics, guy, I forget the guy's name, he's a white guy. He made, I think, like some type of Pop-Tart hot dog or some shit. I was just like, see, why are we doing this? We're putting bacon wrapped around a donut or something. I'm just like, or you wrapping the bacon with bacon. I just saw that Jimmy Dean actually have breakfast nuggets, right? So there's breaded chicken with eggs and sausage inside the damn nugget. I'm like, I mean, what the hell are we doing in America? Because it's really more so America than anywhere else is eating this kind of shit like this. Because when you go to other countries, they're not eating with big ass plates. Most of them don't even have buffets. It's only America that has that. Like, you may find some like countries like in Mexico that would have, like, in their resorts, they have buffets, because it's because Americans demand that, right? So they don't normally eat like that. They have a feast, but it's all like, if you look at like a Mexican spread, it's more vegetables than it is anything else. Same thing for Asians too. Like, they eat more vegetables than they do anything else. Now, whatever their season is and their sauce and stuff like that, that can be debated. I'm not here to debate that, but I can tell you they eat more vegetables than we do, just by looking at the spreads of all their different things that they put out when they're having large festivals or celebrations and things like that. We need to be more conscientious about how much more vegetable we need to be incorporated in our food and just, in our everyday eating habits. And so if you're going to eat all this chicken, okay, balance it out with some damn vegetables too. Like, it ain't just about the protein too. It's about the necessary protein that you mentioned earlier. So the transition to another question that I had in regards to the Organic Dynasty that you and your sister Dominque Jeffries, shout out to Dominque too, by the way. I need to have you guys both on the show again, because I know this is so much information to entail and just basically disperse that it's going to take more than one episode. So be looking for that as well. So just know if you get another DM from me in regards to this, put me at the top of the priority, because I know you're going to have a long list of things to have to get to. But I would love to have you and Dominque both on the show to kind of like indulge and talk about that. But in regards to Organic Dynasty, tell me a little bit about that. So what does that consist of exactly?
So basically the pandemic, I feel like everyone had some kind of shift in their life. Hopefully it was
more than one
positive. Yeah. Hopefully it was a positive, but for us, it was, this is when Organic Dynasty was, I'll say, birthed. But we knew we always wanted to have a business like together, right? We've been pretty close. We moved to Miami together, so like we're pretty close, and we always knew we wanted to do something together, right? We didn't really know what that looked like, but we were like, okay, one day we get enough money, like we'll start a business, right? Of course, the dream, right? But the pandemic hit, and it pretty much left us both jobless. You know, I was actually working at a gym at the time. She was working at a restaurant, which was the first two places to get shut down. So we were here and it was like, okay, what are we going to do? You know, I mean, everyone's in a panic. It's like, you know, just not even just like financially, but like, you know, health wise, all this kind of stuff. And I'd always been, you know, pretty health conscious as far as like working out and eating clean, all that kind of stuff. I definitely had prioritized it. So I was pretty, you know, confident in my immune system, I'll say, but it was also like, okay, now we didn't really know like how long it was going to be. And I was like, well, almost like the time is now. Like if I'm going to do something as far as like entrepreneurship or whatever, like now I have this time freedom where I can't even go to work, you know? And I can really sit down and really figure out what I want, you know, and we kind of did that together. At the same time, I was introduced to a superfood company, an organic superfood company in California called Purium. And it basically, they've been a superfood manufacturer and distributor for like 30 years, right? They were doing a lot of local stuff, so a lot of farmers markets, a lot of stuff, and it's like high quality organic living nutrition that's basically delivered to your door. The last like 7 years, they switched from the farmers market to actually expanding across the U.S., Canada, and Europe. So I was introduced to it by a friend who's kind of like, hey, I know you're plant-based. Like, you know, are you looking to kind of take your nutrition to the next level? And I was like, I don't know, but you know, being in the fitness space, like I'm always looking for a new like competition. Like, yeah, I got nothing to lose, right? Like I'm already healthy, but like I'll like try it, right? So I did like we call like a 30-day lifestyle transformation, right? So it's basically like where you can detoxify in a lifestyle way. So it's not, I know a lot of detoxes can be very stressful in your body and, you know, kind of put you in a position where you might not be able to like function properly, right? This is more of a lifestyle thing. So I was like, okay, you know what, I'll try it. So I actually started it right before the pandemic. The pandemic hit, and I was noticing changes in my body just from this new nutrition that I had shifted. I knew the power of nutrition, but like this kind of took it to the next level. And I just started noticing like just one thing I remember was my bloating issue. Pretty much like it'd been something I just kind of chalked up as like, I'm just going to be bloated after I eat meals. Like it is what it is. Like, I'm just like, my mom has a little pooch, I'm going to have one too. And I started to notice like, wait, I was walking past the mirror, like, I'm not as bloated. Like, okay. And then prior to that, I had needed like a lot of naps, right? I had lower energy, but I thought it was because since I was like 17, I always worked like 2 jobs, whether it was an internship in a job, or it was like, I worked, when I moved here, I worked at the VA, and then I left there, and then I worked at two gyms. Like I was doing a lot. So I was just kind of like, well, you know what, I'm always going to be tired because I'm working so much, right? So I kind of chalked up my low energy to like, okay, well, I'm just busy and overworked. What I didn't realize is that a lot of that was linked to the foods that I was eating, right? And then the toxins that I was exposed to. So when I started putting this organic nutrition in, which really, it was centered, this 30-day lifestyle detox or transformation is really centered around gut health too, which is super important. If we didn't learn during the pandemic, but your immune system pretty much is in your gut, you know, so about 80% of it is in your gut. So if your gut is unhealthy, a lot of times your immune system isn't, you know, performing at its best. So I was able to like reset my gut, which freed up energy, right? And then I noticed too the way that I was building muscle. So basically I'm going through this like transformation, but I'm not really even like conscious and intentional with it, because I'm like, all this other stuff is going on with like the pandemic, and like what are we gonna do, and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going through this transformation. I'm like sharing what I'm doing, and people are like, in a time when most people are like declining, right? A lot of people are gained a lot of weight. A lot of people were getting unhealthier, you know, sitting at home, watching TV, drinking, whatever. And I'm kind of like going like this. I'm like, oh wait, I got more energy now. Like I'm like building muscle, but the gyms are closed. Like it was all these things that were happening. And my sister was experiencing like a lot of the same things. She had crazy sweet tooth, like crazy sweet, like one of those people that after every meal I need something sweet, right? And a lot of those cravings are linked to parasites and a lot of things that are going on in our gut that we can't see, right? But we just kind of fall victim to the cravings, you know? So she was able to get her cravings under control, like, and we're just like, what is happening, you know? And I partnered with the company because of the transformation that I was having, and because I was literally like, everyone needs to experience this. Like, I know people out there, I have past clients that I couldn't really help them with certain things, right? Like, for example, like I can help somebody build a butt, right? But they might still catch the common cold and like, you know, not have enough energy or still be like bloated, you know what I mean? But with this, it was like, wait, like I have something I can actually like tangibly help you with now, right? It's like, yeah, I'm going to help you with your diet, but now, you know, I can give you some gut support, right? I can make sure that you're getting in organic alkaline nutrition that you might not be able to find in your area. Because I grew up in a food desert in Louisville. It's McDonald's, Captain D's, Burger King. Like there's no, even the grocery store, like the organic section is like, there's nothing there,
bare minimum,
you know? So it's like
bare minimum.
Yeah, the nearest Whole Foods, 30 minutes away, right? And I know a lot of people that in my demographic, in my community, like have that same issue where it's like, I go in the store, there's no organic food. Like I'm not driving 30 minutes to get groceries, you know? And I don't blame them, right? So yeah, it started to shift, and I'm like, wait, like I've got something that I can finally, because people are always asking us like, you're plant-based, but how did you get there? Like what I want to do it too, but I don't know where to start, you know, or whatever. And now it's like, hey, guess what? I have a great way for you to transition. Yeah. Right. I can help you reset your gut and really try to detoxify a lot of that animal protein or whatever that you're trying to get rid of, and put you in a position where it's easier for you to begin to eat these foods. Because when you put in a lot of the good stuff, the bad stuff just falls away. Our problem is that we sometimes go cold turkey from, I ate McDonald's or I went to brunch on Sunday and I had, you know, mimosas and all this and all that. And then, but on Monday, I'm starting my cleanse. It don't work like that.
Yeah, your body listen, you can't break black folks from a brunch now. Not from the brunch. You know how much we love the brunch now. Love them mimosas, love them waffles, love the chicken strips and everything. It's like that has been our new aphrodisiac, especially like on Sundays. It's like we got to brunch it up, and that's crazy. But I mean, you can have a healthy brunch too. To your point, right?
Oh yeah, so, for sure.
Yeah, but even about that detox, that's the question I wanted to ask you too in regards to that. So, you and your sister have been like talking on live. I've been following you guys, you know, and the stories that everyone has been pretty much posting in regards to this transformation that they've been going through. The 30-day detox that you guys have been basically presenting to most of the clients who have been taking the dietary supplements and things like that. Tell me a little bit about that, because I remember watching a video and I saw that several people were giving their testimony about the whole the gluttony part and the bloatedness, the cleansiness of their skin, just overall their boost of energy and a bunch of other things. I was like, well, I'm pretty intrigued by this, to know that these supplements or these types of things that you put in your body can do so much positive to your body in so many different ways. I'd like for you to kind of elaborate on that. What does this entail in terms of those that protein and making your own shakes and things like that? So what does this product actually entail?
So it's a 30-day reset, detox, lifestyle transformation, whatever you want to call, whatever makes you, feel good. It's called the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. But what it is really, it's honestly, it's a lot, but in a good way, right?
Yeah,
so like
absolutely.
It's centered around gut health, right?
Yeah.
And the way that we help you reset your gut is we have a pre and probiotic. And I was talking earlier about like pesticides, like herbicides. Well, if you don't know, even if you buy organic, or if you don't buy organic food, right, it has probably been exposed to some sort of herbicide or pesticide or some sort of chemical, right, in the air, on the farm, whatever. There's a specific one called glyphosate that is the active ingredient in Roundup. And you might be familiar with Roundup because you've probably seen it. Like my dad or my grandfather actually used to have it and used to spray it in the driveway to keep the weeds from, like, the grass from growing in between.
It's a weed killer.
Cracks. Yeah. Yes, it's a weed killer, right? You see Home Depot, all that kind of stuff. They still sell it, but that same weed killer, they actually spray that. If you've ever seen like pictures of like people on like farms, sometimes they'll be in like hazmat suits. That's because they're spraying something very toxic. You can Google it, but the company Monsanto, who makes Roundup, actually is in billion-dollar lawsuits right now for cancer, autoimmune diseases, autism, infertility. A lot of people are winning because this is a known carcinogen. It's the science behind it has proven that. My grandfather actually died from cancer, and I'm pretty sure that contributed to it, right? But the probiotic that is included in this 30-day transformation removes the glyphosate from your body. So it's the only one that does that. We see probiotics on Amazon, Whole Foods, whatever. It's like, okay, cool. But this one is very unique. And that's why this program is so transformational, because it's removing something that we don't really see, but it's causing a lot of havoc. Like I said, infertility, cancer, autoimmune diseases, autism, even acne, psoriasis. A lot of that is linked to that toxin. Think about it. If you were to eat an apple, right? You had no idea that it's covered in a pesticide. Okay. You can't wash it off. You can't cook it off because they've actually modified it and altered the DNA of the plant so that it's not resistant to that. Right. So that the plant continues to grow, even if it's sprayed, it's just killing the weeds. Yep. So you eat an apple, right? It's covered in glyphosate, but you can't see it. When you eat it, you swallow whatever, it goes into your digestive system. It creates a layer of wax on your gut that prevents you from absorbing nutrition. So you ate the apple thinking that you're getting vitamin C and fiber and all these things, but you're not really absorbing it because that layer of wax is there because of that pesticide, right? Yeah. And if you think about it, if you continue to eat like that, especially the other foods that we're eating too, it's spread on a lot of crops, so a lot of wheat, a lot of corn, a lot of soy, a lot of obviously bread, like things like actually Cheerios have the highest glyphosate toxicity, which is also very, 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 very disturbing because children eat Cheerios. So they're eating, and their little tiny guts, it's awful for them. That's why you're seeing a lot of autism, seeing a lot of childhood obesity and kids with like ADHD and things like, wait, what is going on with them? Well, their gut's not absorbing nutrients, and that toxin is building up and it's causing issues. Yeah. So
meanwhile, you have parents who think the damn vaccines are doing that to them, right? But that's another
exactly. And it's it's a lot of and I'm not blaming anyone or anything or trying to create this like dark, mysterious type of conversation. But we are, unfortunately, we live in a society where our health is not a priority to the powers that be, right? Absolutely. So they're trying to make money off of our sickness, one, but also off of everything else. So they've exposed us to a lot of toxins, and that glyphosate is something that's not really talked about, but they spray it so much, especially in the Midwest. It's in the rainwater now. You know how the ecosystem works. It's in the rainwater now. Yeah. It's in the air. It's in cotton, right? A cotton farm. Like they don't want the weeds to grow around that. They want to be able to make sure that they can produce all this clothing. So it's in our clothes. It's everywhere. But the biomedic that I'm talking about in this 30-day transformation actually removes that pesticide from your body. It's been clinically proven to remove it within six weeks. Okay. It's something that I take, and what I noticed when I first started taking it, I know anything about glyphosate. I know anything about this. Like, this is just me just like learning as I've been using it, right? But what I noticed was my bloating went away.
Yeah.
And that means that my digestion had begun to improve, right? Because I was removing that toxin. And a lot of women suffer from that, especially, in our stomach area, where we think, oh, okay, well, I'm just always going to have this pooch or whatever, right? Or I'm always going to be this way, or maybe I need to do a detox tea, or maybe I need to get liposuction, or maybe like all of these things, right? When really it's an internal issue. So once you reset your gut, put your gut back in balance, a lot of things begin to improve. And that's, your gut is your second brain, right? So this program being centered around gut health, a lot of people have noticed things like their skin issues. They had acne and all of a sudden their skin issues aren't a problem anymore. A lot of people have noticed, especially women, like their time of the month is much different than it was in a good way, right? Mental clarity. If it's your second brain,
wow, I didn't
you know,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, if you've ever, like, something simple, like, if you ever been constipated, right? You know, you can't really like think straight. Like, all you're focused on is that, right? Because your gut is so important to your function. So when you reset it, like, your mental clarity goes up. And if we aren't so focused on eating, right, overeating, like you mentioned earlier, where we eat too much and too often, then our body can actually digest what we ate properly. It's like you go to bed at 11 o'clock and you ate Chick-fil-A, right? You wake up and you're in Starbucks driving before you even, like, you haven't even digested the Chick-fil-A, right? We're overeating. So our bodies can't even really break down what it ate the night before. So we're putting our body under a lot of stress. And what does that do? That takes up a lot of energy, right? So then that's why we're tired. That's why we need caffeine. We need a stimulant to even wake up, you know, or we put so much stress on our organs that they can't really function properly for other things like exercise. You don't want to exercise if you don't have any energy, right? Because you've been eating this way, and your liver and your kidneys are like, dang, can I filter out the Chick-fil-A first before you, like, you know what I mean? So like we're not really connected to our bodies, and this transformation actually helps you be able to listen to your body. And it comes with also an organic green superfood shake, right? It's got organic quinoa, spirulina, carrot juice, alfalfa juice. Like, there's so many just like organic vegetables that you probably wouldn't even eat, right? Or you might not be eating enough of, right?
Yep.
It's in a shake form because it's going to free up digestion, right? It's going to free up energy. Your body doesn't have to digest it. When you chew, like, that's part of the digestion process. Think about when you chew a piece of steak, right? That takes a lot of energy, right? It takes about 6 hours to fully digest a piece of steak. So you eat that, and think about it, you don't wait 6 hours to eat again. You're eating 2 hours later or 3 hours later. So you haven't even really digested that. So your body's going through a lot. So with this program, you're really taking a break from what I'll call processed foods, right? It's not a diet. So you're really, really putting in, integrating addition by way of subtraction, right? You're putting in a lot of nutrients. That green shake has a ton of nutrients. It's all alkaline. It's all electric, right? It's gonna fill your cells at this, like, it's gonna transform you at the cellular level. So it has a plant-based protein that also a lot of people, especially women, are not getting enough protein. You think you are because you're eating a lot of meat, or you're eating a lot of animal protein, or you're drinking protein shakes, right? But you're not absorbing the protein. It doesn't matter how much protein that you eat. If you're not absorbing it, because your gut can't absorb it because of the toxins and the pesticides or whatever. Also too, when we eat animal protein, right? Our body doesn't see, you don't eat a piece of steak and your body's like, oh, steak, protein. No, it has to break down into what we call amino acids. Yep. So when we digest it, the problem is when you're eating a lot of animal protein, your body has to separate amino acids, the building blocks of protein, from cholesterol, from calories, from all the other toxins that the cow or the chicken ate, right? So your body has to break all that down. And then by the time it breaks all that down, a lot of it's eliminated in the digestive process. So a lot of it is waste. Your body sees it as catabolic waste, and it's like, no, I don't need this. So you're actually missing a lot of the protein, right? So you're overeating, over consuming it, but you're not really getting the nutrition. And you can tell there's guys in the gym, right? Big guys, like a lot of soft muscle, where they look like they should have a lot more muscle because they're in the gym all the time and they're eating all this protein. They eat all this meat. They got the big protein shake tub with them, but you don't see nothing. You don't see no definition. It's just, they're just swole, right? They're not absorbing that protein. They're just overeating it, right? Yeah. So this program actually has a protein source that's 100% plant-based. It was actually formulated by a doctor. So it's used in hospitals. If you think about patients that are in a coma or on bed rest, right? Yeah. Their muscles will begin to waste away if they don't move them. Like, you don't move your joints, like, you know, you don't use it, you lose it, right? So their muscles would waste away if they weren't using them. So they need how to find a way to get them protein that they wouldn't have to really digest, because if you're in a coma, you can't digest anything. You're asleep. So if you look in the IVs at the hospital, these amino acids, they're called super amino 2023s, are actually in the IVs, so in a liquid form there. We have them in a tablet form. So what that's doing is that's putting in amino acids, building blocks of protein, putting in protein for you, plant protein, that's going to put muscle on you whether you work out or not. So on this program, it's not a diet, right? It's not a detox where you're going to lose muscle. You're actually going to be able to gain it, build it, maintain it. So you are putting in organic greens, right? All the alkaline greens that you need. Most people don't eat enough vegetables, as we know. One shake, it's actually really good. You would be surprised. It's green in color, but has an appleberry flavor, so it actually is kind of sweet. But it is equivalent if you were to eat 6 superfood salads, right? So you got enough nutrition equivalent, or enough nutrition in one shake that you would probably have eaten in a month. I don't know anybody that eats 6 salads a day, but in one shake you can do that. So you're able to.
No such person in the world is eating that many damn salads. No,
they're not. Even the healthiest person isn't. No. So unless you're drinking this, right? So you get one of those. You actually drink that shake twice a day, so you're actually getting 12 superfood salads. So you're flooding your body with all this nutrition. You're freeing up energy because you're not digesting as much. But if you're hungry, you eat. You don't. It's lifestyle. So you're not like, okay, I had a shake, I can't have anything else. No. But if you want to serve your body best, what do you want to grab instead of the chips, right? You want to look for other crunchy type of snack. I love like peppers and like hummus, right? It's still crunchy, you know. If you got a sweet tooth, you want to maybe have an apple, drizzle some raw honey on it, you know. So we're teaching you how to eat better, more of a lifestyle thing. But you're getting in so much nutrition, and you'll be surprised what you give your body more of. It's going to start to crave it. So if you're putting in all this good nutrition, most people when they do this program, they're like, dang, I haven't really been craving anything, or my cravings are there, but they're not as strong. Or they're like, you know what? I've never eaten raw pepper.
Yeah, or your cravings are being redirected to something else that's actually healthy for you. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's funny you say that that this plant-based nutrition supplement was actually produced by a doctor, which brings me to my next question, because this is a question I didn't send you, but I had to ask this because you said that. All right, so given that this virus, right, and I've had people, I won't go off into details about what ridiculous shit has been said to me in regards to this virus and what can and can't fight it off, right? So I've had people who say, I'm a healthy person, I'm a healthy eater, I eat plant-based stuff. My body naturally can fight off this virus. And as a nutritionist coach, right? So as a nutrition coach, to your understanding and your knowledge, what would you say, is it possible that having a plant-based nutrition in your body could indeed fight off this coronavirus?
I'll definitely say that the power of the immune system is really important here, right? Okay. And I think that if we prioritize that, we'll notice that a lot of the viruses, colds, and things like that won't be able to survive, you know, in our immune system. If it's in like an alkaline environment, or if it's in a position, right, where we're actually supporting it instead of harming it. I know a lot of people that, you know, have contracted COVID, or that you see on the news. I know they kind of play with the numbers a little bit, but a lot of them were unhealthy, you know, a lot of them obesity, like things like that. And if your immune system isn't strong, it's easy for viruses and disease and things like that to infiltrate. So I'll say that if you have a strong immune system, and that, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be 100% plant-based, right? But we all know that the closer we eat to the earth, the better. We all know that. We don't want to admit it, but we know that. Absolutely. We want to keep eating the foods that basically are harming us, but we know that we're organic beings, right? We should be eating the foods that are from the earth. You know, that's more fruits, that's more vegetables, that's nuts, that's seeds, it's all those things. Those are the things that serve our body best. Those are the things that put us into optimal health. And the more that we flood our body with that type of food, the more our immune system can protect us from things like this, you know? So I definitely I always prioritize immune support. Definitely like I said, your gut and your immune system are literally like their brother and sister or whatever. Like it's in immune system, it's in your
digestive system, respiratory system, so they all work interchangeably together. And so if you're not taking care of one, then that's making it harder for the other ones. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And you prioritize that, then you'll be surprised. You know, I definitely wouldn't say that I was just like prioritizing it probably until last year, but I haven't gotten a cold. I don't even remember what it feels like to really be sick. I haven't really gotten a cold or anything like that. Definitely not, flu or virus, anything like that either. And I really, also it's really also too, like, I don't know, people probably don't want to talk about this, but it's really a lot of what's in your consciousness, like what's in your mind, right? If you're fearful and you think you're gonna be like, you're gonna weaken your immune system, right? If you are entertaining things like the news that's playing games with us, right? One day it's this, one day it's that. Like, if you're really like, absorbing all of that, consuming all of that, right? Well, be careful what you consume outside of, what you eat. That can also affect the way that your body responds, like your brain is a part of your body. So if you're feeding your brain things that can have like negative effects, your body, and it can actually manifest in your body, right? Like trauma, or in the sense of a weakened immune system, or in the sense of disease. Like, there's been a lot of studies where people have just like that placebo effect, right? Where they've told themselves like, I'm not doing this, or I'm not getting sick, or I am healthy, right? And then somehow they just become healthy. And it's not like a mystery, or it's not anything like woo woo. It's like we are powerful, and that
it starts with initiative
behind everything. Exactly. So I think that definitely prioritizing your health. And I mean, we eat all day. Like, you wake up and the first thing you do, you're trying to consume something, whether it's something from your phone, or you're in there making breakfast or whatever, and then we just keep eating all day long, and we don't really, sometimes we aren't conscious about what we're eating. Like with my clients, I have them keep a food diary for like 3 days, and they're like, I never have sat down and really like wrote down what I've been eating, and they're like, oh man, like even like snacks. Oh, well, I had a bag of chips because I was at work and so like had them and I ate some, right? Or I had to pick up my kids from school, so they ate Chick-fil-A and I got me some too. It's like they start to become like a little bit more aware, right? And they're like, dang, like, no wonder I gained 20 pounds on quarantine, because I was just and you can really get a good idea.
Whatever's within your reach, that's what you're picking and choosing and eating. Yeah. So it was just like, because it's convenient, right? Versus you making a conscious effort to actually go above and beyond to eat something healthy. Because I mean, obviously it does take hard work and dedication to actually do that, versus something that's right around the corner. McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, Burger King, they're all around the corner from you. So it's like, that temptation alone can just drive you up the damn wall. And it's like, well, you know what? I'm just going to give in this one time. And that one time becomes the whole damn week. And it's like, okay, at what point in time do you just say, stop, okay, I'm not eating this anymore. And I need to be more conscientious about what I am going to eat moving forward. And more the reason why I asked that question in regards to this coronavirus and the effects of it is because I know, obviously, if you're immune compromised, then the virus typically enough attacks that very thing, right? So it attacks your immune system, it attacks your respiratory system. It makes it hard for people to breathe. I have friends of mine who caught COVID and said that they were out of breath and they were fatigued, and it was just, it took so much out of them, right? And they were healthy people. So it's just with the understanding that even healthy people can catch the virus, but more so in regards to being on a plant-based nutrition, you obviously are giving yourself even more of an advantage against the virus. So that way, even if you do catch it, your symptoms are very mild, or even bare minimum to the very least. And so those type of things we have to be more conscientious about. My last question to you, because we can go on and on about this. I mean, I'm just learning so much from you right now. And definitely want to have you and your sister on the show again to talk more about it, and even to talk more about the testimonies that most of your clients actually have shared with you all when it comes to that transformation, that 30-day detox process, right? So how can people reach you, or what would you say to someone who's looking to start this journey, this process in being on a plant-based nutrition and want to eat healthier and see results? Because I think most of the times, when you're looking for results, you're not going to see them. But when you're self-consciously just like going through the motions, going through the process, then it's going to happen for you, within that time span, right? So if you're just looking to go work out one day, like, okay, I don't see no difference. It was one damn day. Like, give it more time than this. We have to stop being so damn impatient with ourselves and with our growth, thinking that it's going to just be an overnight process. It doesn't work that way. And so for me, my question, like I said, would be, what would you say to someone who's looking to start this journey, and how do they begin it, or where should they begin, just from your, just your honest opinion and your perspective?
I'll say, I mean, I'm gonna speak from my own experience.
Okay.
I started this and I went, what I'll say, like cold turkey, right? From eating a lot of animal protein to kind of going into like plant-based, or just like even on a health journey. And I'll say I fell into a lot of traps. Like I said, I was eating vegan junk food and doing, a lot of things that weren't really serving my body. Looking back though, I probably would have eased in a little bit. Not to toot my own horn, but if you are looking for a way to transition to just a healthy lifestyle, even if you're not like 1,000% like I'm about to just go plant-based tomorrow, right? Even if you're just like, you know what, I listened to what you said and it kind of resonated with me, right? Definitely reach out, because the program that I mentioned actually helps you transition that way. It bridges the gap, right? Which is what I was looking for, to be able to help people.
Yeah.
Okay. Like my parents are 67 years old right now. They've been eating worse than me for longer than me, right? And they actually have transitioned to fully plant-based at their age. And this program has definitely helped them a lot, because what it does is it helps you detoxify everything out. That's the problem, is that we try to jump into it, but our body's still full of these cells full of junk food, and the cravings are deep. Yep. And what happens is we go backwards. We give up on ourselves when it gets too hard. So if you're eating something, it's like, it don't taste good. And a lot of times, like, honestly, your taste buds are directly linked to what you're eating, right? So if you're eating a lot of processed sugar, fruit probably doesn't even really taste that good to you, because your body's so used to processed sugar, right? So white sugar, right? So your tongue, your palate loves it. So you give someone an apple
watermelon
or watermelon, they're like, I don't like that. It's not sweet enough. Yeah, because that's, so this program actually allows you to really help you detoxify, put your body back in balance, so that you'll notice it's easier to live this life. This is the easiest, simplest, most affordable. Like I said, my parents are 7 years old and they do it. Most affordable thing that I found to be able to help people now. And it's something tangible that I can give them, instead of just being like, because I can tell people all day, okay, start with meatless Mondays, right? If you're trying to go plant-based, right? Start with meatless Mondays. Well, a lot of times they'll cut out meat, but then they don't replace it with any nutrition, right? So then they're deficient, and then their body's like, no, I need meat. Have you ever heard people that like go vegan, like, I lost all this weight, I lost all my muscle, I don't know what happened, I didn't have any energy, right? That's because your body doesn't recognize calories like that. It recognizes nutrients. So you need to put the nutrients in. This program allows you to get more nutrients in than you probably have ever eaten in your life, because I'd had it. There's no way I was eating organic salads. I was eating garbage for a long time. Yeah. So now that I'm able to get this in, there is no depletion. Like I'm building more muscle. You know what I mean? I have more energy. So I'm basically like, it's more abundant than like lack. But yeah, reach out to me about that. But if you are like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that either, I would definitely say start looking for healthier swaps, right? Like you said, like baby
addition by subtraction. You said it earlier.
Like one of my favorites that I've been putting a lot of my clients onto, because they love pasta, right? Love pasta. Don't get me wrong. I love some
I do too,
right?
Yeah.
So look for, instead of like the wheat pastas or the other pastas that are like the Barilla or whatever, like branded pastas, look for one. You probably have to go to like a Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. Look for one that's maybe made with quinoa, right? Or another kind of whole grain, right? That will support you better than that wheat. So sometimes they add sugar in the noodles. Like they do all kind of stuff to a lot of things. But really look at the ingredients, right? And be like, oh, okay. Another one, that's easy. I know the sweet tooth bothers everybody. I know it does. But a lot of times that's deeper than just switching out. Definitely, if you feel like it, try to eat more. When you get a sugar craving, sit with it for a second, right? And be like, okay, am I really hungry right now for something sweet, or is something else trying to come up? Because a lot of our cravings are linked to emotions.
It is, right? And if you could convince yourself
like crunchy, like you said, crunchy. Like I have this same. I am the queen of like salty, crunchy foods, salty, crunchy, spicy. Right?
I love spicy food too. Oh my god!
A lot of crunchy. That crunch addiction or that crunch like craving is it has lots to do with being frustrated, anger, right? Think about it. When you eat something crunchy, like you're able to like help your frustration because it's like crunchy and you're actually able to do it. So I learned, like, I was like, oh, what am I frustrated about right now? And a lot of it had to do with where I was in my life. You know, I was like, I'm not working the job I want to. Like, when do I really grab potato chips? When do I really want to like eat that? It's like when I'm frustrated or angry about something. And instead of really diving deeper into it, I run to food, but I run to awful food. Now, don't get me wrong, I still get frustrated and angry. But now I grab peppers, right? I cut them up and I dip them in, or I get like the little mini, they're like sweet bell peppers, and I dip them in like hummus or something. And I'm like, okay, it satisfies that craving, right? So I'm actually putting nutrients in. And then I'm also able to really sit with it a little bit better. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm frustrated because this didn't work out the way I wanted to, or whatever, right? Sweet cravings is usually a lack of love, right? Think about it. When you go through a breakup, what do? You go and grab a bowl of ice cream, or you run to alcohol too. That's sugar a lot of times, especially if you're mixing it with something. But it has to do with a lot of love, or lack of love, or you're missing out on love, right? Could be your own self-love, right? Are you trying to get it externally from someone else? Is that why you're running the cookies and ice cream? Maybe you should be giving it to yourself. So that's what I kind of teach people too. But those are two things that I would try to like make some like healthier swaps. When it comes to, if you're not ready to fully dive into like a full, like, you know, transformation, I'll say, because everybody's ready to transform, but you can always make healthier swaps. Put more greens on your plate, right? Growing up in the South, the meat, that's the main dish. Like,
sure
I have
is.
a steak
Always
that's
and forever
this
will
big,
be.
and then the carbs are next, and then I just put like this much greens on my plate. I know it's gonna look crazy, but swap it. The meat should be the smallest thing on your plate. More veggies, less carbs, right? So if you still want to eat it, cool, right? Have instead of a big piece of steak or a big burger, right? Maybe cut that in half, right? Put more vegetables on your plate. Fill up on those nutrients first, okay? Have your carbs or whatever, and then eat that, you know, or not eat it last, but just have it like the smallest portion. So really try to shift a little bit, you know, try it, baby steps. You never know.
Yeah. Now you listen, you talking directly to me. You brought up the crunchy and I love spicy food.
I love spicy food too.
You about to have me crying up in here because I'm just sitting here thinking like, oh my God, spicy food is like my go-to thing all day, every day. And I started thinking to myself subconsciously, I was like, listen, I got to slow this down. I'm getting older, and this, my health is a priority more now than it's ever been. And I mean, I'm in good shape, but it's like, I know that there's room for improvement, especially
we can always upgrade though. I feel like why do we get so like comfortable with being mediocre?
Exactly.
Like something like Kobe Bryant said about like, no, I want to be like the best. Like, I don't want to settle. Like, I'm in the gym. Like, and I always come back to that because I'm like, I'm looking around like, damn, why? No, I can do better. You know, I can upgrade. Even what I would consider myself maybe the healthiest I am right now. I know I can do better, and I'm always looking to upgrade. You know,
it's always room for improvement.
We get so complacent. It's like, well,
we do.
Or we also think that being healthy, it's like either it's all or nothing, right? You're either extremely healthy or you're just unhealthy. Like, there's no middle ground. I'm like, you don't have to eat clean every single day of your life, and that's the only way that you're going to be healthy. No, you can make those like swaps, like I said, and really be on a journey to it, because it's going to be a journey, you know.
And things in moderation too. It's like, you know, again, you got to get carried before you crawl. You got to crawl before you walk. You can't just sit here and just think that, oh, I can eat all of this healthy stuff and then go back to eating unhealthy. And it's like, you're not balancing it out. At least have more healthy than not healthy stuff in your body. And so that way you're giving your body what it needs to really live a longer, healthier life. And so
you'd also be surprised, like how powerful like cutting back is, you know.
Absolutely.
Like I have people that are trying to not drink as much coffee, right? So I'm like, okay, well, before you do this transformation, because caffeine affects our body in certain ways, but a lot of times when we try to detoxify from it, it gives us headaches, like really bad migraines and like nausea. So before they do the transformation, I'm like, hey, let's see what we can do as far as like cutting back on it, you know. And they start to cut back and they realize their body adjusts. Yeah, there's an adjustment period where you might get a couple headaches or whatever, but their body starts to adjust. I'm like, I'm not even craving coffee anymore. Or I went from a cup every single day, twice a day, to like one every other day.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
for some
and those
people,
small
not going
changes.
cold turkey would help. It's like
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
stopping
Just
it
cut back.
completely.
Yeah.
It's like, see, that's going to be harder for you
It's
than to
going to be
just
harder.
gradually stopping it. It's like, all right, from one, or I'm gonna stop from 2 a day to only 1. And
Yep.
then when you get to that 1, so you know what, I can manage this. It's being at a manageable space in your life to where just being able to balance it out. And it's,
you've been eating unhealthy for 30 years. You think in one day you're gonna all of a sudden just be
all of a damn sudden.
Yeah, like no, like it's gonna be another transition. And I'm grateful that it doesn't take 30 years to reverse what I ate before. You know what I mean? So it's like now it's like, yeah, but you gotta be able to. It all starts with us. You can listen to a million people, you can try a million diets, but nothing's going to really serve you unless you really believe in yourself or you really want to change, you know? So if you really, really have that in you where you're like, you know what, no, something I have to change. And the thing about our people that I'm trying to plug into our brains, you know, is that we don't want to wait. We don't have to wait till it's too late.
No, like, we don't
have to wait until we're 45. You've seen it. I have uncles and stuff. Okay, now I'm gonna try to get healthy, right? Or they go back to church and they start doing all these things. I'm like, you can do this now at 25, right now. 26, 30. You can start making these changes so that at 45, you're not on high blood pressure medication, right? You don't all of a sudden have like a stroke, like you mentioned, or you just don't feel like yourself and you've got grandkids or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can't even be there for them. We don't have to wait till it's too late. No, we don't have to wait until we're like down, like, oh, I'm in the hospital now. Okay, now I'm gonna, Deonna, I need help now. It's like, no, let's
don't
start
wait
now.
Until you on a damn deathbed and sit there trying to have a transformation now. Like it's too damn late in the game to try to do something like that.
We have all the resources now. We have the money. We have the time. We have that. We don't really like. We just like to make excuses because that's easy. That's comfortable. You know, this is gonna be uncomfortable, and you know it is. It's gonna be a little transition, but out of our comfort zone. We are worth it. You know, our families are worth it. Everybody's worth it.
And we have to look at it that way too. And one of the most dangerous quotes that is very detrimental to our growth and just maturation in general, whether it's physical, mental, spiritually, anything, is it is what it is, and I am who I am. You don't have to be that. It don't have to be what it is. Oh. It can change. Life is about evolving.
That's another thing.
Evolution is something that has to become of all of us in some form of way. And you can want something all you want, but if you're not putting the initiative is the first step.
Yep, it is.
That mindset has to go along with the actions you put behind it. Because all of it's going to be just some wishful thinking. If you just like, oh yeah, I want to do this, or I'm gonna start this, or I'm gonna. It's like, when are you going to? Like, start now. Don't say I'm going to in the future. Now listen. Time is something we don't get back, and it's like we have to cherish this more by doing what's more important and much more influential for our bodies to live longer. Because if you don't take care of your body won't take care of you. Bottom line. Again, Deonna, we've actually went over the time, but I love and appreciate this conversation because you're, of course, helping me with just my journey on this too. And I'm actually going. I'm already sold with the fact of trying this 30-day detox thing. So I'm actually going to buy me a whole little package and everything. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to be sound. If I get stuck, I'm gonna be literally like socially knocking on your door, like, Deonna, help me, please. Jesus Christ, help me. Okay, I'm falling off. What do I need to do now? Tell me what I need to do, because I know I'm a man of, I need direction sometimes, right. And so it's like, but if you give me enough, I take it from there, and I can motivate myself a lot of times too. But not everybody is on that same journey and able to do that. So some people need
accountability.
They need accountability partners. They have to be able to have someone holding them accountable as well as holding that other person accountable too. So, absolutely. But for me, like, I know I go hard in the gym when I do go work out, which I'm about to get ready to leave and go to the damn gym in a little while. So, because I'm motivated now. Listening to this, I'm just like, no, I'm going to do this shit because I know I want to live a longer, healthier life and be able to be around for my kids and grandkids, things like that too, because again, we're not living long enough as Black people. So again, thank you so much for this information. I need you and Dominque on the show again. You tell her that I said I will DM her. You are going to be back on this show talking about this. We're going to have a continuation of this conversation to kind of get more of a perspective from her end too, just what she's been seeing. And then you all can talk about the different testimonies that you all have been embarking on with different clients who've been taking this
Yes,
detox
absolutely.
process. And so how can people reach you?
I will say probably the best way to reach me is on Instagram.
Okay.
That is where and it's really a great way to connect with people, right? Because you can see my page and all that kind of stuff. I know emails can get lost and they can seem like a little disconnected, but Instagram is the easiest way to reach out to me, or the best way to reach me. It's Deonna, DEONNA_D. That's my Instagram. So yeah, send me a DM. I love to connect with people on that app. I've met so many people like that I would never ever, like you, for example. I mean, that I would probably never ever meet in life. So it's just it's been a beautiful platform for me to be able to share and to also be able to connect and network with people. So yeah, definitely reach me on Instagram, Deonna_D, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll definitely make sure I'll provide that information into the description of this episode. So that way people can go directly to your page and follow you, DM you, all that good stuff, as long as they're not stalking you. And I'll make sure they're not stalking you and not, bothering you like that. I hope I didn't bother you too much.
No, you didn't.
So, because I really needed your information. That this very information is very helpful and is going to be very informative for everyone who's listening out. So again, to all my listeners, be sure to like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be able to provide that link to the description of this episode as well. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Speak to the Mic _podcast show on Instagram, as well as on Facebook, Speak to the Mic podcast show. Also, I'll be providing this content along with others. I would definitely be looking forward to having you and Dominque on the show sometime in the future, so we can kind of continue on with this conversation and be able to put as much information about this out as possible, so we can get more people out here in our communities living longer and healthier lives, helping change the culture for the better, because we have to break so many generational curses. And one of those curses is all this unhealthy eating that we've been doing.
It starts with us. So yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you all like, share, subscribe to this YouTube channel, Speak to the Mic. Also follow Deonna, and I'll be able to provide that information to you guys in the description of the show. Thank you for your time, and I will definitely be speaking with you again soon.
Thank you.
All right. If you like what you've heard from this week's episode and would like to hear more from previous episodes, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. You can also find me on social media platforms at Speak to the Mic _podcast show on Instagram and Speak to the Mic podcast show on Facebook. Be sure to also like, share, and subscribe to my Spotify page at Speak to the Mic podcast show. As I put out more thought-provoking content, your opinion and thoughts are needed and appreciated. I thank you all in advance for your support and look forward to hearing from you soon.